All right, we ready to talk about some vinyl voltage?
It's my turn.
It is your turn.
So, and Quinn lets me know like a week ahead of time what his vinyl vault is, and I completely forgot, and I had to text him like an hour ago, and luckily he had a copy of this. So, Matthew Sweet, this is Girlfriend. So, and you said this is great because when it came out, there was no vinyl of it. I mean,
the drop is very accurate in that we can't show you an LP because it didn't come out on LP at the time. It was a CD and cassette. That was the CD and cassette era. Came out on vinyl much later, and now it is.
This was given to me, like somebody that got it, and back at the time, I knew people that kind of wrote for the Chronicle and wrote music for this, or Houston Press, or I don't even know, was Houston Press even around when this came out?
Yeah.
Okay. And somebody, and I don't know who, said, "Hey man, you want this?" They'd gotten it for a review and never gotten to it. I'm sure. Sat around for a little while, and I remember popping it into the CD player, and Divine Intervention comes on. And I was like, what is this? And then I just went through the whole album, and it was just like, I could not believe that. I'm like, am I the only one listening to this? And then later, of course, I forget. I was like, who the hell played that guitar solo? So, of course, Richard Lloyd's on here, Robert Quine, two seminal early New York punk CBGB television era guitarists on here, killing it.
Yeah.
Sonically, it's amazing, from quiet moments to the big fuzzed out kind of stuff. I mean, yeah.
And rock and roll power pop albums of this time tended to not be guitar forward. And this is a heavy guitar forward record. Genius work in that
his lyrics are amazing.
Took his pop straight ahead rock songs and said, I'm just going to put one banger guitar player in one ear and one in the other. This was such a good headphone record because those guys, Matthew's playing the rhythm, and then those guys are just riffing constantly all over the place, and it sounds
like them jamming in the studio.
It sounds
like
live
in the studio. It doesn't sound like it's full of a bunch of overdubs. It's just raw, but beautiful, poppy, silky in some moments. It's just
brilliant record.
Forget it. Go get it.
And a kooky thing about this record is, so this is the CD age where everybody was just filling up CDs with 80 minutes of music. You had all these albums that were kind of too long,
right?
And honestly would kind of peel a star off how good the record was if it had been edited down to 10 or 11 songs.
Yeah.
Not this one. You couldn't take a track out. There's 15 tracks on this record. I don't know what track you would take off.
Right.
It is great. And of course, Matthew, tremendous harmony singer, and he sings all of his.
How good is Evangeline?
Super great. And this record holds up so well because it is the classic sound of a guitar plugged into an amp, overdriven with a mic stuck right in it.
And you know this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. And the picture on the cover is
Tuesday Weld.
The great, the gorgeous, the ingenue. I mean, beautiful. Just one of those classic Hollywood actresses. That I think
great photo.
Died tragically. I think something happened to her. Right? I don't remember that. I don't know.
But if I was a reviewer and that just came across my came across my desk, that would be the first thing I would
just find out. It's like, who is that? Who is that?
And so there weren't a lot of expectations for this because Matthew had released. He was part of he was in a band called OK Go with Michael Stipe's sister. It was kind of He made a record.
Oh, I'd heard that name, but I'd never heard them.
He made a record for Columbia that was, and then he made 2 records for A&M that were, pretty good. There was the elements of it, and I don't think he could keep. I think he was there without a deal. All the chips are down. Makes this record. Takes a risk.
Wow.
And it makes his career.
So, you said you were really a big proponent of this album when you heard it, right? And didn't you got a quote on one of the?
I got the press for the record. They used a quote from me in the press because what they did was, this is back before you had to worry about music being embargoed and not on the internet because there was no music on the internet. And so they would send you advance copies of records for review. And there's some really rare.
That's what I got. Mine's an advance copy. Yeah.
So, replied to the label immediately. And then, knew people at Zoo.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is my favorite record of the year, and I can't remember what, but I got a little quote out there.
That's cool.
It was in the trades.
That's cool.
And, yeah, man, it's still, I still listen, and I almost picked this record for another special future edition
Yeah.
of the drop that we're going to do.
Lots of ideas circling around there.
I'm striking them from there.
All right.
Great. Ready for our vinyl vault?
I am ready for the vinyl vault.
Ready for the vinyl
Hit me
vault.
with your vinyl vault.
So the vinyl vault. So we briefly mentioned this record before. Hey, hello.
Vinyl vault. I think we have our own music. I love it.
You know what that reminds me of? That music reminds me of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yes.
When
I will now pull the rabbit out of the
that
hat.
is exactly
This
what
trick
I'm
never
thinking.
works.
Yeah.
Quiet, Rocky.
So we discussed this record once when we were talking about a new release by this artist.
Yeah.
And I went and pulled this record off the wall and we just chatted about it, for a minute. But he was just in town and he just played at Heights Theater on Sunday. I sadly couldn't go, had family in town, playing with Samantha Fish, but Jesse Dayton, Big Shakes, Gulf Coast, big guy, blues guy, and now on Rounder making this great records with Samantha Fish. Everybody starts somewhere. This is, I think, his debut record. This is Jesse Dayton with Mad Hatter. This is, if you want to know what this is.
What
this
is?
Is,
I've never seen this.
This
man.
is 1984 hair band.
Steve Ames producing. Wow.
Did you ever do anything with Steve Ames?
No, I know the name very well, and I know lots of people that know him, but I never met him.
Mixed at Rampart Recording Studios, Houston, Texas.
Yeah. This is so cool.
Jesse and company made the drive to Houston from Beaumont to cut this record here at Rampart Recordings, and there's really not much details about the record other than it's arranged and produced by Eric Tucker and Jesse Dayton. I don't know where
1984.
1984.
God, he was just
he's a wee
teenager.
Pup. Yeah.
Then he was God, I should know this. I'm gonna get people. I'll be killed for this. Then later it was like, was he in the Hightailers? What was he in?
He was in the Road Kings.
In the Road Kings,
which boy, they were incredibly popular band, and really found huge success in the Scandinavian countries.
Overseas,
they love the rockabilly over there. But everybody starts somewhere, and that is the only copy of that record I have ever seen. I don't know how many they pressed. Check out. It looks like somebody got their big banana markers.
The artwork looked like the real burnout stoner dude that like in art class sat at the back and was just drawing all the time. And this was what he came up with. That's 1983 Mr. Lass's art class. Shout out to Mr. Lass at Sharpstown High School. Look at the dude holding up the top hat and dancing at the bottom. Is he a mermaid? He's half fish and half Slash.
We don't know.
I don't know what he is. Are these bones?
Oh, it could be.
It's crazy.
It's a kooky.
I'm sorry, 1985. Mike Oliver. No disrespect, Mike. God, that's amazing. It's a good one, man. Good.
A little bit. I always like to pick the kooky archive, Houston, Texas thing.
Yes,
that is definitely a Houston.
I have. It's time for the vinyl vault, isn't it?
It's time for the vinyl vault. It's creaking.
Come on. So it's my pick,
Ruben's pick.
And
where's those vinyl vault sounds?
I hope I got a good one.
Woo!
So this is a little band from England. This is Squeeze, and the record is East Side Story. I actually saw this tour. I think you saw it too.
I did not see this tour. I wish I would have.
I did see this tour. Glenn Tilburg, Chris Difford, Paul Carrick is in this particular incarnation of the band, and opens up with probably one of my favorite songs.
In Quintessence, I love that guitar riff where it's just in the C and just like moving. It's great.
Yeah, man. These guys were just hitting on all cylinders when they recorded this. It's just amazing.
Two of the greatest modern era British songwriting duo with Chris and Glenn, and produced by Elvis Costello, most of this record.
And a special, I want to give a special shout out to Gilson Lavis, drummer for the band. He was so much fun to watch live.
Yeah,
because he was very he had this very like this kind of grace to him. I mean, these
kind of swings.
He swings. Yes, he had that.
And he had this pompadour.
Yeah. And the guys dressed, real nice and stuff. And I just loved their whole vibe, man. It was really cool. Obviously Tempted is on here. Is That Love? I love these guys, man.
You got
And,
2 or 3 singles deep on here, but I'll tell you, top to bottom, this is probably
Dave
their
Edmonds
finest
produced
record.
Dave Edmonds
Oh yeah,
produced
he
Attack
produced
and Quintessence. Yeah. You were
Your
saying
tune,
probably
your jam.
probably their finest record, right?
And I will tell you this: I have, whether it's the Rolling Stones or the Beatles or whoever, I love it when English guys sing country music, and this has one of the best country songs by an English artist ever, labeled with love. Check that out.
Yes, this is a good one, man. This is I don't know. I could talk. It's an interesting photograph too.
I love it. They did like the thing.
But I don't think they took, like, photographers take a million, in this, and then like pick the one. I think this might have been the first or second shot, and they're like, yeah, we're going with that one. I mean, look at Paul Carrick's face.
Yeah.
What?
I was like,
What is happening there?
Probably everybody.
Can we go to the pub now?
Probably everybody in the band was fine with it, and Paul's like, "Do we have to pick that one? Did we take another shot?"
Wait, I wasn't ready. My zipper was down. That's why they covered it with the story right there. Anyway, that's good stuff, man. All right, so you already kind of talked about what's coming up and everything, so I feel like we've covered that.
The Vinyl Vault is opening,
guys. The Vinyl Vault.
It's my pick this week, and this is the first time this has happened on the Vinyl Vault. I'm actually picking a new release as a Vinyl Vault, and it's because it has it's archival music and it's such an interesting story as it pertains to Houston, Texas.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
And this is a box set from Smithsonian Folkways. It is called "Playing for the Man at the Door," and wow, yeah. And this is the field recordings from the collection of Mac McCormick, who. He recorded from 58 to 71. He was an ardent blues follower, but he would go into neighborhoods, he would photograph, do sound recordings of like dialogue, and also record musicians that were never going to make it to a recording studio.
Right.
And I think this photo on the front is actually somewhere here in Houston. He recorded a lot in Houston, all over the Gulf Coast, and this is what he did. He kept all those, he never released any of those recordings. When he passed, they passed it on to the Smithsonian.
Right.
And they finally put it out. But he'd been approached for decades for people wanting to
make
sense.
How much material is on here?
Here is a
because this is
lot.
a heavy.
Let's see.
Oh, there it is.
You got 3 CDs and a 128-page book featuring never before seen historical artifacts documenting a lost chapter of African American music in Texas. And of course, you can't have a Texas blues record without Metzlitz, Lipscomb, and Lightning Hopkins, two of Houston and East Texas's best. But this is really, it's Dowling Street. Yeah,
Third Ward.
Look at that, awesome.
Yeah.
So for Houstonians, this is like this whole.
Dowling is the one that turned into Emancipation, right?
I think that's right. Yeah,
I think so.
I mean, this is just an amazing trove of music that has never ever been available before.
I think this is the first one we've featured in the storied history of the drive that comes from the Smithsonian National Museum of American History.
Yeah. So I mean,
that's our right. It's our first Smithsonian Folkways.
And no greater validation of a historical recording than this. And I think people look at us. People are flipping out over this thing.
Yeah, this sounds. I want to hear this.
It's so important to Houston.
Oh, 100%.
And Mac was a very visible person here. He was the first person to record a lot of these artists, and in some cases the only person. And if you listen to this, you will be very glad. I've only heard the sampler, but you will be very glad that these recordings finally made the light of day. And I'm just. We talked about this on the drop a lot, but I'm just fascinated that you have these essential recordings that are just monumentally important. That
by the way,
this.
Yes,
we found this.
Yes,
we got this. So testament to Mac's tenacity to kind of keep it all to himself for decades.
Right.
Now that he's gone, everybody can enjoy it. So there you are.
I love it.